I'm recording now. Or I'm starting the record file. Why don't you hit me with some more of that, your sexy acronyms.
My acronyms.
Give me some more of those acronyms. Come on.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
I'm going to keep them secret.
No. Share the acronyms.
I'm going to keep them secret all to myself.
Learn me something.
I don't want to learn you anything.
Please learn me something.
You can't learn.
Oh, why can't I learn?
It's a pointless endeavor.
It's a point. You don't want me to learn anything? What is this? You're oppressing me now.
Help, I'm being oppressed.
You're oppressing me. Lady.
I'm going to keep my superior knowledge to myself.
Okay, well.
You always talk about keeping your secrets. You don't want to share your secrets?
Because they're mine.
Yeah, I've got secrets.
Your acronyms?
I do have my acronyms.
What the hell is happening?
USDA.
Yes.
EPA.
Oh, everybody knows the Environmental Protection Agency. Well, give me something else.
It's the end of the day. I don't have a lot.
You have nothing else to test me with? See if I can figure it out.
I write down acronyms all the time.
I'm sure you do. I'm looking for something and I can't find it. Bear with me.
Such a customer service thing to say. Bear with me for a few moments. I'll be right with you. Thank you for your patience.
You like this song?
I do like this song.
Do you remember this song?
Nope.
How do you know you like it?
Well, because I like the way it sounds in my ears.
You've heard this.
You asked me if I remember it.
No, if you like this.
No, I told you I like it. I don't know if I've heard it.
You've heard this.
Probably. No, you asked me if I remembered it, and I told you I didn't remember.
Each podcast, I'm going to, I have a song I play at the beginning that's kind of a theme or has something to do with the guest. So this says something about the guest or us.
Who is this? I know
Brandy.
This. Okay. I probably heard it in your car. I don't dance.
Is that corny?
It is corny. It is corny.
Now, it's Brandy singing about her brother, I believe. So, okay, so away with that. I like the message, best friend. Amy's my best friend.
Aw, how cute. No.
Oh.
I don't. No. Can I do what other people?
Silly. So I should go ahead and do what I'm supposed to do. So welcome to the Grip Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Sky Osborne, the one and only. Yes, me. Me. That's a Matrix reference for all my Matrix fans out there.
Because that's everyone.
Everybody loves the Matrix.
Everyone all the time.
Me.
And if it's not the Matrix, then they definitely want to talk about the Dark Knight.
Yep. So, welcome to the Grip Podcast, where we talk about the Matrix and the Dark Knight.
That's it. All
the time.
Every episode.
Transformers works its way in there sometimes. Harry Potter. Nice. Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Grip Podcast, you can listen on Spotify and iTunes and YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram at The Grip Podcast, on Facebook, The Grip Podcast. Twitter, just me, Matthew Sky Oz, O-Z, Z as in zebra. That's how you say it.
According to Trevor Noah, that's how they say it.
Who is South African.
Yeah.
It's not zebra. When the last time you went to somebody and said, hey, Debra? No, you say Deborah. Right?
That's true.
Yes, okay, and you can go to the website, behumane.live. BeHumane.live. I'm not doing .com. I moved on past .com. I'm in a whole nother galaxy.
Because you're unique and different.
I'm unique and different. So we're past .com. We're .live. This is how we live. This is how we're living. It's live. Living. LIVE.
Yeah, you forgot the E. You said LIV.
I said it real fast. I said E. My voice is so deep, it sounds like I put my letters together.
Also, I can't hear.
No.
Just as a general rule.
You are a little deaf in one ear.
That's true.
I'm sorry. It's one of those things I had to deal with.
I'm like, talk in my good ear.
Talk in my good ear. Usually hear that from old people.
Yeah.
And you're not old.
No.
So, did I do all my plugs? Get your Be Humane wristbands also at BeHumane.live. They're $5. Support me and help me and Amy go on vacation. I'm just kidding. Help us do more Be Humane things and fun. This costs money. This is not cheap. Just ask Amy; she'll tell you.
I won't.
I burn through my money.
I won't
pretty
tell
fast.
Anyone.
What do you want to buy now, Matt? Well, there's this thing.
There's this camera.
There's this camera. There's this mixing board. There's this software I need.
I don't even ask. I don't even ask what you need because I know that for president it's too expensive. We're gonna have to save up for it.
That's the other thing too. You always give me shit about. You can't buy me presents because I buy them all for myself.
That's true. You do.
So. It's Christmas all year long for me.
I just buy you nonsense things.
Like t-shirts and hats.
Uh-huh.
And Warner Brothers, DC Comics.
Trinkets.
Trinkets, cartoons.
Magnets,
movies, little things.
It's like I'm shopping for a child. And you're so happy when you get them too. A couple years ago, you were like, this is the best birthday ever. I was like, I basically just
It was like, what, $20?
Yeah, $20 of children's toys from a comic book store. You were so happy.
I was very happy about that.
Yeah. So in that respect, you're easy to buy for.
Yeah. How much do we want to divulge about ourselves on here? Because I worry about this. And by the way, this is Amy's first time.
I don't do things
doing anything.
I don't do things on
social media wise.
I have Facebook. I don't get on it. I don't post. I don't update things. I'm very
no. So that's why Darcel was like, I'm on a friend request. I'm like, dude, she's not even going to know you did it.
I probably
and then you approved it immediately. I was like, what the fuck?
Did I do it soon after?
The same day, I think.
Oh, well, that was just a coincidence that I happened to look at it.
You just got lucky, Darcel.
Because it could have been sitting there for months. With as often as
I told him, I was like, look, man, she ain't gonna see your friend request. He was trying to go around me to ask you something about something we were supposed to do, and he's like, oh, that's Amy. I'm like,
I think it was a movie or something.
I was like, go ahead, man. She ain't gonna see it. And lo and behold, there you were.
Yeah. Talking
to Darcel. Well, not talking to him. Anyway. Okay, so yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I was concerned about how much we divulge on here about ourselves because it's just me and you in here, right? But this is gonna go out to the world and everybody in the world is gonna hear it. All of humanity is going to hear it.
Right.
So
because everyone's listening.
We're clearly very comfortable with each other, so we're just going to talk.
Okay.
And so I'm like, are we going to get too comfortable and just start saying shit? They're like, oh wow, maybe we shouldn't have said that about our life.
Probably not.
You don't think so?
No, because
I get very comfortable and I just start going.
I'm overly cautious.
So you'll help
and
keep me
a little paranoid
in line
about my presence on the internet. Not that I have a presence, just the professional ramifications of putting anything on the internet. Very aware of that.
Yeah, you have a career where that could be a issue for you, so
has been an issue.
Has been an issue.
Not for me.
Not for you, but for other.
Yeah, for other people. They told us stories in law school all the time about things that people would post on the internet, and then your employers or potential employers would research you and find out and not hire you. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think anything, excuse me, in our subject matter is inappropriate other than it might not be the views of said individual at that place of employment. Like, you're not up here like, yeah, man,
I'm not going to say
wild, crazy ideas about society.
I don't think I have wild and crazy
No, I think all of
society.
our ideas are humane ideas. They're, they're moral. They're just.
It's more about like being civil.
Yeah.
To other people.
Being humane. So, like I say, I just don't think anything crazy is going to come out of this. Like, I would have a hard time believing.
Are you like trying to assure yourself? I'm okay.
No, I'm just talking to you. I'm just saying. this is the podcast. We talk.
I'm good.
I'm just saying. I would find it kind of humorous if an employer were like, "Well, you said, don't ship Mexicans across the border." Why would you do something humane like keep them here and feed them and keep their families together? I feel like that'd be the odd stance to take, for an employer. I'm just talking, man. That's what you do on a podcast. Sorry.
I don't do podcasts.
I know, but your husband talks a lot about things, and I just talk, and I can just keep talking and talking.
You can.
And I won't stop talking.
You can take over a room, not in an obnoxious way. Just you are very good at working a room, or
I've been known to.
You do you.
Control, not control. I've been known to.
I like to be an expert at blending into the background. If I can sneak up against the wall and pretend like you don't
just blend in.
You can't see me right now. Then I can just kind of creepily watch other people interact.
I've been known to commandeer a room or two.
Yeah. I've witnessed it.
And that's not, out of...
You did that at our wedding.
Yeah.
I hung out with my
Yeah, you put me to work.
My 4 people. No, you just...
I know, but you you go do that.
Actually, I would have hung out with you more at our wedding.
I didn't even see you on our wedding day.
I know, you were being so social. You were just everywhere. Every time I looked to try to find you, you were with a different group of people.
Well, yeah, you got to talk to everybody and hey, thanks for coming.
I'm just saying, the point I think that I'm trying to make is you just naturally work a room, whereas I just naturally hang back.
So what, opposites attract? Is that true?
I don't know.
Is that really true? 'Cause I don't really think you're my opposite in some ways, but I think we're different.
I would say
in a lot of respects, but
I would say
kind of our core beliefs
line up. Well, I couldn't be with you,
right,
if you didn't share my values,
right.
But I would say we're more complementary than opposite. Where I'm weak, you tend to be stronger, and where you have weaknesses, I kind of fill in, and so we complement each other. But some people may characterize that as opposites.
Opposites? I don't know. I think opposites. I think of I don't know, man.
Oil and water. You don't mix well.
Oh my God, what are those two? I mean, and we've gotten that too. What are those two people doing together?
Oh, people are always confused.
What?
Particularly with me.
And I'm like, fuck you.
I'm not that aggressive.
I mean, I think that internally.
You don't just go
I don't walk up to him and fuck you. I need my soundboard.
Do you have little treasures that you're going to share with people now?
Yeah. It's funny because I get into the podcast and I forget to do things because, I get caught up in the conversation.
You have a little toy.
Hey, I'm not afraid anymore.
Fuck you. Who cares what you think? Okay, so anyway, enough of that. I think we made our point, whatever that point was.
I don't think there was one.
So, I want to kind of give people a peek into our world, as far as some of the conversations we have, and we have them, and it's funny because, like you said, we have a lot of the same core beliefs, but we still have these really in-depth conversations about stuff, which is kind of funny to me because I'm like, you would think that maybe if we believe the same way and share a lot of the same values, there wouldn't be a whole lot of back and forth, but there's a lot of back and forth. And do you think that's are we just sitting there are we digging deeper into topics and trying to like what is that?
Well, I think it's more we approach any given situation with entirely different perspectives.
Okay.
Based mostly on our life experiences.
Okay. That's right.
So while like our fundamental values, I say fundamental, like, you know, family, God, or religion if you're religious, which I'm not, but you know, those kinds of things we agree on and we have from the outset. But any particular situation, the reason I think we have such in-depth conversations is because we don't often think about it the same way.
Yeah. I'm just gonna turn my camera back on because it does that sometimes.
Just turn
By
this off.
sometimes, I mean all the time, where it stops recording. So yeah, to say that, so I wanted to give people kind of a peek into some of our conversations, and kind of the conversation we've been having here lately is what's been happening in the news with I don't even know his name.
Judge Kavanaugh.
Mm-hmm. And so, okay, so I guess we want to talk about the Supreme Court, or is it the Supreme Court or judges in general? I think maybe that's kind of what we were talking about, or just the Supreme Court. I think it's judges in general, but the Supreme Court, you know, I think a lot of people put a lot of weight on the Supreme Court, and they get a lot of the press and they get a lot of attention. But there's judges, there's thousands.
The Supreme Court here is like a very, 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 very small percentage of all cases. Most cases, I mean, you file them in court, but they settle. So most cases don't even go to trial. And then, you know, it's basically like, if you think about, I guess the good analogy would be like, think about all the people that play high school sports. And then all the people that make it to a Division I college to play on a scholarship. And then of those people, who make it pro? Like, if you start off playing high school basketball, then of those high school basketball players across the country, who's making it to a Division I college to play college ball? And then of those college players, who's making it to the NBA? And then at the NBA, who's having a successful career, you know, that you remember decades later?
Like all-stars?
Yeah.
The group just keeps shrinking and shrinking and
yeah,
shrinking.
So they make, you know, monumental decisions that'll impact generations, but they don't hear a lot of cases. So
I don't know what level of judges hear the most. Is that like
district court judges?
District court judges?
Well, state court judges. And then you have federal district court judges, which those are the ones that are confirmed by the Senate. And then you have appellate court judges, the federal courts of appeals. Those are also confirmed by the Senate. So the federal courts are what the Senate's involved in. In Texas, the state court judges, and I believe all the judges are elected.
Okay. So why, and we'll just assume people don't know a whole lot about it, because I think maybe a whole lot don't. How does a judge become a judge? How do they get in that position? People vote?
We at the state level, people vote.
Okay.
So you have to run. Like in the midterm elections, we have a lot of judges running for re-election. I voted for judges in the primary.
But you don't hear about this. You know what I mean? And it's funny because, like, I don't know, you'll hear about a lot of protests about police shootings and things, and, you know, that happen in society that are horrible. And, you know, you hear people talk about voting in the presidential election and things like that. But I'm like, no, man, like these smaller, you know, elections are just as, if not more important than the presidential election, because what's happening on the local level is going to affect us more than on a, I don't know, government level, I would think, right? Like a, you know, I don't know what national, or whatever the word is you want to use. But you don't hear about people voting in these. And you even had to get me on that.
I get on my soapbox and scold.
Yeah.
It's not an aggressive scolding, but it's a
shit
scolding.
You need to do.
Yeah, to
because
my family members. so that they go and vote.
So we need to be voting for local judges because we could see them in court.
You could.
One day.
Local judges, local elected officials like city council, mayors, sheriffs, constables. I don't think constables. I just made that up. Don't listen to that.
I see those cars. Oh, you want to give your disclaimer now?
Yeah.
Go ahead and give your disclaimer.
My disclaimer is I am not an expert. I am not a constitutional law expert. I don't practice constitutional law. So I just...
But you know a little something.
I know a little about stuff. I read a lot. I try to stay informed. And I care about very mundane things that a lot of people don't get excited about. I get really jazzed about.
Can we let them know what line of work you're in?
Oh, I'm an attorney.
Okay.
Which is why I'm not on the internet very often.
Yeah. Issues. So, yeah, you don't hear about, local elections that much. You see, like, the signs all the time everywhere. But I feel like the only people that vote in those things are old people.
And me.
And you and me now.
Like, hey.
You're at the... You know what? It's funny because when
the primary is this day. We need to vote.
It's funny because you say that and, like... We're laughing and joking, but every time we go vote in these local elections, it's us and old people. And by old, I mean, I don't know, like 50s and up.
Yeah.
I don't ever see 20-year-olds, in line ever.
I get excited when I see younger people in line.
Yeah, and hopefully now, I feel like voting needs like a rebrand. And I feel like Donald Trump and what the Republicans have been doing have actually kind of been rebranding politics for people on all levels. And people seem to now be more aware of, local issues, local judges. Do police captains or somebody gets voted in as well? Like a chief of police or something?
I think it's a sheriff.
Is it a sheriff?
I think it's like the county sheriff. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
And I don't even know if that's the same. Is that the case? Like, I don't know. We should have did more research on that. But point being, there's a lot of voting that people, I don't even know where you would go to get information on all the things that are happening locally near you that should be, are very important to.
You Google it.
Google it.
Yeah, like the, before the Democratic Party or primary, I Googled Democratic primary and Dallas County, or it might have been Dallas County had everyone that was on each ballot, Republican and Democratic. And so, then I went and looked up every single person running for office. I
remember this.
I spent like 3 or 4 hours looking up people because not that I knew their issues in and out, because some of them didn't have a whole lot of information online, but to the extent that I could figure out who they were and what positions they had taken, then I, made a note of who I wanted to vote for in that particular election, because I feel like I need to know. I don't want to vote for someone if they are a shifty person. Like there was one, I think someone had been running for a judge, and the research that I had done on that particular person, I don't remember who it was, but it was a Democrat, and they were running for judge here in Dallas County, I believe. And they had been censured or something. They had done something. They had taken some position, and they had gotten in trouble, I believe, with the state bar. And again, don't quote me on this. I just vaguely remember this from like 4 months ago. Okay. But they had done something. They had gotten in trouble, and they were running for office again. Kind of like how Roy Moore got kicked off Alabama, right? That's where
I believe so.
He got kicked off the Alabama Supreme Court. Then he ran again and got reelected. It was that kind of situation. I don't think that this person got kicked off the court, but they got in trouble for something, and then they ran for office again. And I think they won the primary, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thing where if you're not informed about who you're voting for, then you could be voting for, just, which I've done in the past. I've just picked a name.
I think a lot of people have.
Yeah, you just pick a name, and then what if that
person's a Democrat? That person's a Republican. That person's an independent. I usually vote Democratic, so I'll vote for this person.
Yeah, and they could be like a careless judge, or I'm just saying judge because
a registered sex offender. Yeah.
Probably not a registered sex offender, but they could be someone who has some ethical issues and has been found publicly to have ethical issues, and you don't want. I think there's enough corruption in our government.
Jesus Christ, is there?
And at this time that we don't need to be adding more to the the mix. So I think it's important to research the people running for office. And then you might find someone who, maybe isn't like a really big name, but you look at them and you look at their position, their stances on particular issues, and you're like, well, they're not the well-known candidate, but I certainly agree with everything they stand for.
Right.
And so you can be an informed voter, and I think that makes your vote more impactful.
Yeah. So that's interesting to me because I feel like the government and these people, and maybe it's a combination. I'm sure it's a combination of a lot of things, but these things don't get the kind of attention and traction that these bigger elections do.
Because they're not exciting.
They're not exciting. The people usually aren't charismatic. They're just nose to the grindstone people. They dress like your parents. Not your, I'm just saying people's parents.
My dad dresses in all brown from head to toe.
It was like, ooh, this person is very responsible. And they always go to work on time and do a good job. That's not sexy.
This mayor of this small town.
Yeah.
Super great guy.
And me and you had talked about this briefly. And I really don't mind bringing this up. We had talked about briefly about creating some kind of resource, website with information like this on it, where people could just go here and look at the people in your local community, and this is what's happening, and this is who they are, and this is their record. That would be a massive undertaking, like you wouldn't believe.
It might already even be out there. We just don't know about it.
Yeah, if it is, maybe
someone's gone and compiled information about all
the information's nice. There.
You just have to find it.
But it's so scattered, and you don't know where it is, and you don't know and the way the internet is now. How do you even know if you're looking at the truth? Fake news,
Well, if you're me, you fact check your resources.
Yeah, but you're a very
meticulous person.
You're very meticulous, and I would say you're more qualified than the average person.
And I research
to research things shit, man. You researching something is the equivalent of and now this is just me talking here. It'd be like, hey man, you want to go play basketball with Michael Jordan? No.
I'm not that good for research. But I do.
That's the point that I'm making,
I do research.
But the average person can't research like you. That's like an actual skill, Well, what do we do? We all don't have Amy in our back pocket.
I think you need to look at the structure of the website that you're looking at. Does it look...
But how do you even verify if it's real? I swear to God, I could go online right now and make something that looks very official and give it some weird acronym. MDBCO. Political news information. And there would be people that are like, yep, I got my information from the NCBO political site. Yep. Legit. Yeah.
Well, you have to Google the name of the company.
You think people are that,
I do it.
Again.
Okay.
That's you. Think about the rest of us.
Well, I'm just saying it depends on your level of investment in the information that you're consuming.
People have families, jobs, kids,
I would say don't get your news on Facebook.
Okay, there's a start.
If you want, I don't know, if I've found, and I realize that it may make me sound like an old person, I get a lot of my news from NPR because they're not...
It's a pretty legitimate source.
It's legitimate. They don't put a lot of political spin on anything. There aren't like opinion pieces. They're just giving you facts of things that are happening. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I get most of my information. And then if you want to, if you see an article or whatever, look it up on a national news source. Has the Washington Post, because I think you had seen something on Facebook about some unarmed black man getting shot or beaten up or something like that by a police officer. So since it was on Facebook, I was like, well, I know that a lot of stuff on Facebook is not real. Mm-hmm. It's fake. So has the Washington Post reported on this unarmed black person getting shot? Has NPR? Has a local news station from, like the Dallas, if it happened in Dallas, has the Dallas Morning News reported on it? Had any of the local TV stations reported on it? So it doesn't take a lot to verify it.
So you're saying, you get your initial story and you're saying, go see if you can find that story somewhere else.
Yeah. And if you can, and not at a .org or some
or a LIV.
Yeah, not at some random news, seemingly legit news organization.
It's funny you say that because I arrived at that sort of thing on my own. I would learning how things are today. So I would, get something I'd see, like you were just saying, on Facebook or somewhere. Like, let me go see if this is anywhere else, If you can't find it, then it's,
Yeah, the only place you find it is on someone's blog. It probably isn't real. Yeah. If it's an actual news story, at least a local news station has picked it up.
Yeah. How did we get here? What are we talking about? Why is it important? Judges.
That's an excellent segue, by the way. Just what were we talking about? Judges.
No, we're talking about, why these local elections are important and why we should care. I don't think we've really gone into yet. I think we just kind of broadly just talked about how these local issues or local people in these offices can affect our lives. Sheriffs, if that's something you vote on, city council, things in your neighborhood, in your county,
in your state,
that could be, I don't know, man, school shooting issues, that could be water, that could be taxes, it could be a lot of stuff, right?
All of it.
Which is like, but people get all hot and bothered about, and rightfully so, Donald Trump and President, what's going on in DC and stuff. And I'm like, this stuff has just got to be much more local and affect our lives. So, I think the next point was, historically, you were saying earlier, people our age don't have an interest in political issues. And I think we kind of already talked about this, how I think that's changing.
I hope it is.
It appears to be. There seems to be a lot of... I haven't been following these special elections that closely, but it seems like a lot of women, gay people, even transgender people are getting elected in offices. And if you know me, you know this. I mean, I think that's awesome. I think the more variety and diversity, the better, because the world is not made up of white men. I'll just go ahead and say that. There's a lot more going on than white men. And I think kind of what I've experienced is, like, when you say something like that, people seem to be upset, like, oh, why are you hating on white men? Why are the man? I'm like, no, the world is more diverse. It's just simply that. People are more comfortable and familiar with people who look like them. that's kind of why I think you see people congregate with people who look like them. It's just comfortable. It's just familiar. It feels safe. So, when you look at our government and, it's full of white people, it's kind of scary. You're like, what do you know about my life? Do you even know, Why are you laughing?
You remember in the movie Everything Combined?
Everything Combined.
So to circle back where we started, you said, how is it that we have fundamental values that are the same, but we always have very interesting conversations about just about everything? That's why, because we have different life experiences, right? If you have a bunch of people that are living a similar life as you, you're not going to have a diverse array of experiences. And so even if you're not openly prejudicial, there are going to be things that you just don't think about. They just don't occur to you. As a white man, there are going to be things that just never pop into your head because you've never, ever had to deal with them.
Right. It never entered your orbit.
Unless someone else told you, like, hey, and then you had to believe that person, instead of just explaining to them about their life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I know that you've said that that's what happened to you, but, like, I honestly don't think that that's what happened. Let me tell you what happened to you.
And the funny thing is you get that a lot from, not exclusively white men, but you'll get that kind of thing. And it's like, how would you even know?
Well, that's how they came up with the term mansplaining. Let me mansplain to you about your life.
And you've done this for me with women.
Well, you've done it for me with race issues.
There you go,
Because there have been so many things that you've brought up to me that I had never occurred to me. And prior to meeting you, I'm a relatively, I'm not going to say, like, I think woke is probably not accurate prior to meeting you, but I was not completely unaware. I, had a level of awareness. I had, a small level of awareness, but, compared to now, what I know now is I knew nothing at that time. But even at that time, I knew more than or at least was kind of aware, had an inkling of a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But if you hadn't talked to me about those things, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, and I think we both did that thing we did a similar thing to each other where that was happening with the race issues between me and you. And then with women's issues, I was doing the same thing where I was like, nah, it's probably not happening.
I was like, yeah, it definitely is.
Like, you're just kind of exaggerating, aren't you?
There's so much more going on.
But why do we do that? I mean, it's. I know why we do it, because it's, your reality is your truth. You know, so whatever you live, you think that's truth. That's real. That's what's happening. I'm like, no, it's real for you.
That's true, because my reality, 8 years ago. How long have we been together? 2010?
I couldn't tell you.
So,
I really don't know. I don't know how long we've been married.
It's right there on the wall.
There you go.
June 2nd,
there you go.
2013.
There you go.
So we've been married 5 years.
Okay.
But, so anyway, prior, way before you.
Mm-hmm.
So, back when we still lived in Ohio. I just lost my train of thought.
We were saying,
popped right out of my head.
We're late. It's late. We were talking about,
and it's Friday.
How your reality is your truth.
Oh, right. So my world is different now.
Yeah. But see,
it got shattered a a bit.
Yeah, man, it blew it up.
It did.
I see the cartoon where the guys that stick a dinosaur.
Yeah, between you and law school,
shit got real.
It did quickly. It got real very quickly. So my worldview is totally different than it used to be.
That's good.
But it is good. I feel like I don't have blinders on.
You're outside of the matrix.
I am. I took, which pill is it?
You took the red pill?
You should know. I don't.
I haven't seen it in a while. I think you took the red pill.
I can count the number of times that I've seen
I was
the
going to
Matrix.
work a Matrix reference in here.
On one hand.
You took the red pill.
I think I've seen it twice.
You're unplugged. But before you were in the Matrix.
Yes. Or sheltered.
Yeah.
I think would be a more accurate description. Good on my parents, though. I had a very sheltered childhood. I was totally a kid.
And you know what the thing about that is? My mom says this, not to get off topic, but mom says, children shouldn't have to deal
with grown-ups
with all that shit. Children should just be allowed to be children, but the way the world is,
yeah, that's going to be tricky.
It's unfortunate. We're gonna have to let Hayden know.
But how do you let him know, but not let him fully know? Because if you let him fully know, I feel like you're going to have a cynical old man on your hands when he's 10.
Hayden, he's like 3. Come here, man. All right, listen.
Let me tell you about life.
Shit's real, man. Okay? Don't fuck up when you get out there.
The world is a terrible place.
You see a white guy, you walk the other way.
No.
Just assume he's going to kill you. No.
You can't. No.
I'm just kidding.
No, you can't be saying those things. Dial it back.
So, it's funny. I was saying people's reality is their truth. So, I feel like that statement should be your reality is your reality. It shouldn't be truth because it's not. So, talking about these local elections and the diversity that we're starting to see in politics is exciting for me.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. It's just really exciting. Because it just makes me feel like
we're not leaving it up to other people to make our decisions.
We're not leaving it to white guys to tell us about our lives and make our decisions for it. No, man, we need to make our own decisions for ourselves. We need to let people with similar views who deal with similar things and have similar points of view. Okay, so okay, I don't know, man. So this is a really silly example, but it's whatever. When Barack Obama got elected, I was like, yep, he knows. He knows about my life. And not personally, but, and he did, and he does, just simply being a biracial kid. And funny thing about biracial kids is they're always considered to be black, which I think is interesting in itself. You never look at a biracial kid like, yep, white kid, So him being biracial, being brown skinned, he automatically experienced a different America. And I know that he's experienced my America. And so, yeah, I vote for that guy. Hopefully that this is all, obviously already finished and done. But I'm like, yeah, he knows about my life. And we got to see that over the years. He talked about things that you would never hear a white president talk about ever, So that sort of thing's exciting for me. And I can't even imagine how exciting it is for women to see women in positions of power. You know what I mean? Not to get off topic here, but I really don't know what's up with Republicans trying to pass laws to govern a woman's body. I think that's wild.
They just want to regulate my uterus.
Are there any laws regulating a man's body?
Not the way that they want to regulate mine.
But the thing is, it's weird because it's so normal. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's just a part of society.
Why do women make 80 cents on the dollar to a man's
Where's your husband?
I see that you have breasts, and that's going to be a 20-cent dock on your pay.
It's crazy.
It's not that overt, but that's what it comes out to.
Yeah, it's been my experience over life. It's the subtle things. If anybody's seen Handmaid's Tale, I think they made a really good...
That's terrifying.
It's
an amazing show, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, I think they made a lot of good points in that show. They were saying things like, change doesn't happen like with these big drastic moves. It's little subtle things here and there. And not to be an alarmist or anything, but I think you see some of those like subtle things in society now, which made that show so damn scary. Like the husband having to sign for her medication.
Birth control and stuff like that. So having people that look like you and us in position of power is hopeful. And I think it's something we need to push. And you're going to get, you're going to get your crooked people in there. You're never going to get rid of that. So you're always going to get somebody in there doing something they shouldn't be doing. So I'm not saying, a diverse government fixes all the problems. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it's a step in the right direction. You agree? Yes.
Looks like you're almost checking out there.
I'm not checking out. I have a lot of things to say.
And also, here we go. Holding them accountable. No, this is related. Holding people accountable. Holding them accountable. Another reason we need to vote for people and hold them accountable in these offices. Did you see what happened with? Is it Jeff Flake? Mm-hmm. Did you see what happened with him today?
I didn't watch it because, just a disclaimer, I don't generally watch the news. I read the news because watching the news, I haven't figured out how to not become furious most of the time. So I read my news so that I don't ruin my day.
It's easier to take it in that way?
It is for me. And I understand that is a privilege that I have because some of the stuff that our federal government is doing has deeply and negatively impacted real people's lives.
Yeah, I want to play just a little bit of this audio here.
It's not a privilege. I don't...
It's just what you do. It's just how it's how you consume the news.
It's how I deal with it.
Because it is a lot. It can be overwhelming, and it causes a lot of people to be jaded and like step away from it.
Well, and I have I have the ability that it doesn't like impact my life, so I can. Would you say I can turn it off? It's not fair. It's not right, but I can do it.
Yeah.
You've told me you're like I can't turn it off. You speak.
We've had this conversation about being black.
Yeah.
You're
like I can't turn it off. I can. I'm
always black. I can't ever not be black. Yeah. So I can't ever turn it off. Like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that today.
But I get upset and I'm like, I'm not going to watch.
Oh, that. So you're talking about it's a white privilege.
Yeah.
It
that
is.
I can read the news and not have it affect me personally.
Yeah.
It just upsets me from a moral standpoint. I'm like, this is wrong what you're doing to people and how you're breaking apart families. But it hasn't impacted me personally.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't know what you think I'm saying. Like you got to deal with this all the time. It's every waking hour of the day. I want you to be.
It's something that I think you need to be upset about it. I think you need to be thinking about it because if you can tune it out and it doesn't weigh on your conscience, are you going to do anything about it? I mean, really? People are kind of inherently lazy. I'm inherently lazy. I just happen to be weird about researching things. But, we all have lives and jobs and you get busy and, if you can tune it out, maybe that's more comfortable for you. But I don't think we should be comfortable. I don't think now is a moment to be comfortable. I think we need to be uncomfortable because it's too important to be complacent.
Yeah.
There are too many things that are, I feel like it's not just like one, I can go on a tirade about this, but I feel like it's not just one thing that is a problem. There are like a host of issues from rolling back environmental regulations that can impact people's lives and kill people to, the way that the judicial branch has gotten super partisan, and people are putting in judges for lifetime appointments on a super partisan basis. Obviously, I'm not a Republican, but I think that there is a danger when one party doesn't have to work with the other party, that you can just do whatever you want, and the other party doesn't have a way to check you. So when Harry Reid did it. He's a Democrat. He did it with the district court and appellate court judges, I believe, during Obama's presidency. Mm-hmm. And then Mitch McConnell was like, you know what, that's a great idea. I'm going to take it to the next level. Yeah. We're going to do it for the Supreme Court. No. You should have bipartisan support for your judicial nominees. Whether a Republican's in the White House, a Democrat's in the White House, an independent's in the White House, I don't care what party's in control. You should have bipartisan support, because I don't want, being a self-identified, very liberal Democrat, I don't want our judicial branch to be extreme. I want them to be very middle of the road, because they're going to see a lot of stuff, and I want them to be like very rational and in the way that they think about an issue, because judges, once they make law, they don't really like to overturn it. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the Supreme Court precedent, they don't like to overturn. I mean, everyone's talking about Roe v. Wade, but they're not going to really, if they can narrow it, I think they would narrow it before they narrow it further than it already has been narrowed. I think they would do that before they would overturn it. But plus, if you overturn Roe v. Wade, what are you going to run on? Like, abortion's such a divisive issue. If you don't have that divisive issue to make people get ginned up about your candidate, what are you going to run on?
But the thing is with that's
very cynical.
Yeah, but they run on that. But the whole thing is, like, generally speaking, that's not going to change.
What?
Roe v. Wade.
That's what I'm saying.
But they run on it like it's going to. Right?
Yeah, but that's not the point that I was making.
Okay.
The point that I was making is that, okay, so you have this very divisive case, and it's happened, like it was Plessy versus Ferguson, and then I believe the separate but equal situation. I believe that that's the case. And then, Brown v. Board of Education. But if you look at the timing, it's a significant amount of time between one case and the other. So, like, Roe v. Wade was passed, or that decision came down, and someone would correct me if they were listening, like the late 60s, early 70s, I believe, maybe 73. And so we're in 2018, and it's been narrowed, the scope of what constitutes that kind of, protection or whatever for a woman's right to choose. But they haven't overturned it. So the point that I'm making in a very roundabout way is judges make decisions that last for a really long time, or tend to last for a really long time. You don't see courts. I mean, it happens occasionally. We've had some insurance cases where, like, a state Supreme Court made one decision, and then, like, a year later, they made the opposite decision, and then a year after that, they made the opposite. So they did a complete 360 and came back down to where they were. And so, but you don't see that very often. Right. Usually once a court makes the decision, that's the way that the law is for a really long time.
Yeah.
Not like indefinitely, although sometimes, but, like a decade, a couple of decades, a lifetime.
So what were you saying to me a little while back down here?
That's why I want them to be middle of the road, because I want, not everyone, we've talked about this, not everyone gets what they want, right? You want to compromise. I want my government to compromise.
Yeah, to have any kind of successful relationship, you have to compromise. Nobody can get everything they want. Yeah, and
they won't compromise.
It doesn't work. I was going to ask you though, what were you saying to me? Not on the podcast here, but a while back, when you were talking, you were saying, I don't know what the split is now to win in a vote. It's like 51 to 50. But you were saying before or prior, you should be like 75. What were you saying?
I just pulled this number. I just made it up, but
okay.
It's not based on anything, although I've read a couple of articles where they suggested instead of lifetime appointments, like for the Supreme Court, you could have staggered 18, 20-year terms. Mm-hmm. Because the whole thing with the Supreme Court is you don't want it to be, or in theory, you don't want it to be a political institution. You don't want your Supreme Court judges or your federal court judges, because those are also lifetime appointments. State courts, elected officials, so it's every election cycle. But federal courts, once you get on there, You're on there until you retire. So this article, their position was, if you want to try to tone down the partisan nature of electing or appointing judges, but you still want to allow them to have independence from whoever's in office, because you don't want your judges to be beholden to the people that put them there, then, do staggered 18, 20-year terms.
Okay.
So I like the idea of a staggered term. I like the idea of not having a lifetime appointment, because you could have people in there that don't adapt with a changing society. So young people's views are much different than our parents' views about a lot of things. So I feel like you want a judiciary that reflects, is true to the Constitution, but also reflects the society in which they're making rules.
Right. But speak to your idea where you were saying it should be 75.
The confirmation process.
Yeah.
So instead of even the 60, what did they have, the 60 vote filibuster? I was let's get a very clear majority,
which would require
approval,
Republicans and Democrats bipartisan vote.
In my dream utopia, and I don't know if this is controversial, hopefully it's not, I don't know, but in my dream world, if the Democrats took control of both houses of Congress, they would institute, and I don't even know how you would do this, as a practical matter, I don't understand, because apparently Harry Reid, as the Senate Majority Leader, just made up rules or got rid of rules, and Mitch McConnell just makes up rules all the time. So I don't know how you would institute some sort of permanent change outside of a constitutional amendment or passing a law, which they have a hard time repealing. If you pass, how they keep trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act and they haven't been successful, because once you pass an act, it's difficult to repeal. So if they could institute some sort of institutional change where judges have to be confirmed by 75% of the Senate. That way, if you have a Republican majority or if you have a Democratic majority, you still have to find someone that the other side is okay with.
Yeah, you gotta have the support.
You have to compromise because you're not going to get everything you want, but maybe you'll get someone with some qualities that you like. The other side gets some qualities that they like, and you have a relatively balanced judiciary.
Yeah, but this bullshit that the Republicans are pulling right now is just, it's wild.
Well, they took a page out of Harry Reid's book, and
it's wild. They're just we want everything.
They went next,
I'm you understand
next level with it.
That's not going to fly. You'll
not
do
long term.
Not long term, but you'll do all this, nonsense. But what's that talk? What's that thing we say where we're the rules or whatever of society have to reflect society's views in order to actually work. Something to that effect.
I feel like you're quoting the way that you were quoting the other day, but you butchered it, and I'm not following.
Yeah, I'm not going to do a good job. I don't even know if it's a quote or it's just something that we said in conversation where, and maybe I heard it on The West Wing. There's probably something like Toby said in The West Wing.
So where are the Arnie Vinnick Republicans? Speaking of The West Wing, I want them.
But the laws have to reflect the beliefs of society. I think it's something that Toby was saying.
Okay.
If they don't reflect the beliefs of society, there's really nothing to support them, and they'll inevitably fail. So all this stuff that the Republicans are doing, I think, makes them happy now, but the shit's going to backfire, and I think they're going to have long-term problems dealing with the fallout of all the shit they're up to now. I wanted to play the sound before we get too long here. This is Jeff Flake today. He was trying to get on the elevator.
I know, and two women who had survived sexual...
So let's listen to Jeff Flake.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that you said just last night you felt that the witness was in fact credible.
On Monday, I stood in front
front of your office with Addie Barkan. I told the story of my sexual assault. I told it because I recognized in Dr. Ford's story that she's telling the truth. What you are doing is allowing someone who actually violated a woman to sit in the Supreme Court. This is not tolerable. You have children in your family. Think about them. I have 2 children. I cannot imagine that for the next 50 years, they will have to have someone in the Supreme Court who has been accused of violating a young girl. What are you doing, sir?
I was sexually assaulted and nobody believed me. I didn't tell anyone, and you're telling all women that they don't matter, that they should just stay quiet because if they tell you what happened to them, you're going to ignore them. That's what happened to me, and that's what you're telling all women in America, that they don't matter. They should just keep it to themselves because if they have told the truth, you're just going to help that man to power anyway. That's what you're telling all of these women. That's what you're telling me right now. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter, that what happened to me doesn't matter, and that you're going to let people who do these things into power. That's what you're telling me when you vote for him. Don't look away from me. Look at me and tell me that it doesn't matter what happened to me, that you'll let people like that go into the highest court of the land and tell everyone what they can do to their bodies.
So that goes on.
Do you think
that goes on for some time, and I mean it's just like 10 minutes of this, and they can't close the door to the elevator. They're just letting them have it. He looks so shamed. He's just like he's holding his head down, and he's just like, and it makes me think that these guys are up in their offices, disconnected, from reality. And it was nice to see that shit hit home for him. Now, does it have any real effect on him? I don't know. But he did something today in the Senate, I think, where he said we need to allow a week FBI investigation, a week-long investigation that's limited in scope.
Yeah, he voted to approve or to move Judge Kavanaugh out of the committee and move him to a floor vote, but he conditioned his approval because it was obviously on party lines, but he conditioned his approval on a week-long FBI investigation into the sexual assault allegations that are currently out there against Judge Kavanaugh. Yeah.
So, I just wanted to play that real quick. I thought it was interesting, and the people in the media were saying that sort of thing hasn't been seen before. Not saying that it hasn't happened before, but has it been caught on tape and broadcast for the world to see? No. Where you got a constituent, just confronting, her guy or her senator. I think he's her senator. I'm not sure. I might have just made that up. And having them kind of having to see the real effect of the shit that they are up to in that office and in their position. So saying that to say, voting is important.
It is important.
It's extremely important. It affects our lives, your children's lives, family, mother, father, daughter, grandpa, sister, brother, nieces,
And also you should just call your congresspeople.
You've been doing that a lot lately, and I want to kind of wrap it up around this. But yeah, you've been doing that a lot lately.
Well, when
you called, actually got someone on the phone.
I did. I was surprised.
You're like, wait, what?
Well, because
who'd you call and why?
It was Senator Cornyn's office, and I talked to a person. I had left voicemails, angry voicemails, and sent angry emails. About
what issue?
When they were separating the children from their parents when they were crossing the border, and then you found out that there were these quote unquote tender, I think they were called tender age facilities.
Yeah, they give them a nice little name.
No, it was like 5 and under. They were Hayden's age.
I know.
Kids Hayden's age separated from their parents because they wanted to the administration had publicly said that they wanted to deter people from crossing the border. And then they backtracked that and blamed the Democrats. And I was like, no, you're actually on camera, people in your administration saying that this is why you're doing it. And I was livid. Just
as you should be.
And sick. And I needed someone to yell at. I didn't want to yell at you, and I didn't want to yell at home, and I didn't want to be I needed an outlet. So I was like, you know what? Let me call my senators. So I called Senator Cruz's office and got a voicemail and left them a voicemail about how this is morally reprehensible. It still is, what they're doing at the border. And then I called Senator Cornyn's office, and I did that every day for about a week, which is not a long time, but I've never called any elected official ever in my life before, and I've never seriously considered running for office. I would consider running for office. I don't think I'd make a good politician. I don't think I have charisma, or I'm smart enough to do it, but I don't think I have a personality that would be effective. But when they were doing all these things, and I think this is why so many women have been running for public office and why so many different kinds of people have been running for public office, because I think that some of the things that our government is doing I think people are really ginned up about what's going on at the national level, but I mean, I think it holds true for every elected office. I was like, they're not doing a good job. And I can't trust them to do a good job or to look out for my interests or the interests of my family or the people that I care about. And so I'm not going to leave it to somebody else to do that. I'm not going to not vote. And I would seriously consider running for office because they're not doing a good job. And if no one else is going to step up, then you have to. By you, I mean me or any number of the people that have run successfully. You know, they're like, the people in office, people in power are not doing a good job. They don't care about me. So
no,
who's going to look out for you but you?
You sound like me over there.
Well, so that was my thought. Even though I would not be a good candidate, don't
count yourself out.
Well, I mean, I could probably pull myself together. But I'm not like I know what you're saying. I don't carry a room. I'm not walking in and people are just like, whoa, starstruck. They'd be like, she's a serious person that seems to be capable. She's not excited. I'm like Kawhi Leonard. I'm a fun person. Oh, man.
You know what I'm looking for right now. I'm not even going to do it.
You can't find the laugh. He's like, I'm a fun person.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm a fun person. I'm exciting. I take risks.
You're fun to me.
I can be fun.
I know.
We know. We know it.
Anyway.
Moving on.
But that segues into I think that kind of the closing point that we want to make is that for so long, I think people have looked to others to help. Where's our Martin Luther King? Where's our Malcolm X? Where's our Barack Obama? Where's our person?
Yeah, we can't wait around for a savior.
No.
But I am hopeful about the fact that it seems like a lot of people have come to that realization.
It would appear that way.
I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah I'm hopeful.
Yeah, like we have to take care of ourselves.
That The Handmaid's Tale will not come to fruition.
Yeah, like nobody's going to save us but us. And I love that. And what's the guy's name? Oh, man.
Bob.
He's the, I want to say British guy. Real goofy guy, man. Long hair. He always plays a crazy, like, British man. Real skinny.
Hold on.
Goofy ass guy.
I know who you're...
Russell Brand?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's who you're talking about. He's always got like a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, that guy is something special. If you've ever heard him talk just outside of any like role he's doing, he appears to be one of the most enlightened people I've ever heard, period. I don't know where he comes from or how he knows what he knows, but he talks a lot about local governments, and he's like, people get worked up over the presidential election. He's like, what's important is your local government and shit.
It's true.
So, I was saying that to say, I don't know.
October 9th is if you're in Texas, that's the deadline to register to vote. So if you're not registered, please register.
Please register to vote.
Please vote.
Handle your shit.
And also, slight plug, get excited about jury duty.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. I feel like now whenever I get summons for jury duty, I don't get excited.
I do.
But I feel like,
I want to serve on a jury.
I got to handle my shit.
But we can talk about that at a later date.
So yeah, that's really it. Get involved. Look up shit. If you can't find shit, email me and Amy, and maybe if we have time, we'll look for shit and try to help you with your shit. So
I'm not going to volunteer myself like that.
Yeah, I mean, because like this episode like blows up and we get like 1 million hits. I'm like, shit.
No.
So that's really it. I hope we made some sense and enlightened people with in a few areas. And I don't know. I just hope that we can all do better and be better. You want to go check on Hayden, and I'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for. Someone's crying there. I can hear him. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Really hope you guys are enjoying what's happening here each week. I try to have a different person on and talk about a different topic and see if I can keep things interesting and diverse. Hopefully I'm doing that. I'm open to your ideas and suggestions as far as the content and how it's being delivered to you. Other than that, thank you for your time. I'm going to go ahead and find one of my tracks to send us out on here. Excuse me. That's another thing that I do is I do a weekly music vlog where I put out a vlog each Sunday. With kind of my music process. I've been producing music since I was like 18 years old. Where I put out a video making music and I put out the actual track every Tuesday. And so let me put this on. This is actually a remix of a track I made for an album called The Box Divorce, which was done by artist Jade Freeman. The actual song is called Kid. This is a remix of that song. It's just the music. I don't have the vocals on here because that would be confusing with the vocals and me talking. So I just want to say thank you for checking out the Grip Podcast. I will see you next Sunday with another special guest. I hope to have my wife on here more because I feel like she has a lot to offer. She's very intelligent and wise, and I love her. I feel like she has a lot to say. So thank you, and I'll see you next Sunday.